Travis, first I'll start you off with a kind of an interesting question I thought up earlier in the week. And both these teams are red hot. So I kind of want to get your thoughts on which is the better team in New York right now. Of course, the Mets, I believe they still have the best record in the National League. The Yankees, I believe they have the best record in the American League. They're the first two teams to get to 20 wins. First NL team, first AL team to get to 20 wins. And both teams have obviously playoff, they have World Series aspirations. Give me your thoughts on which of those teams is better right now and which team you think is more built for October, built for a ring. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I think right now I'd probably say the Mets, just based on their pitching staff. Scherzer, Carrasco, Bassett, McGill, I believe as well, and no DeGrom. We don't have DeGrom just yet. Once they get him back, that will be a rolling machine, I think. And so the Mets have to be the clear favorite, I think, right now, even though they have 2 more losses than what the Yankees have. They played more games, though. They do have a harder strength of schedule. They played the Phillies, 4 series this year or something like that. I feel like we've just seen so much Phillies-Mets baseball this year.
That's true.
But what they did that one comeback game, I think it was either Thursday or Friday night, coming back 7 runs, I believe, or 6 or 7 runs in the ninth. That speaks for itself right there. This team does not give up. This team is loaded. They have so many just small, I feel like, utility guys. Eduardo Escobar, Mark Canha. The list goes on, in my opinion. But such a deep roster that right now they look very scary. They look, very, very good. And they're just destroying their division when it comes to, playing within the NL East right now. 6 games ahead of the next team, which is the Atlanta Braves. They are on a roll right now. But I don't want to sleep on the Yankees, of course, because Garrett Cole is getting hotter and hotter.
Very true.
A lot of their pitchers, Nestor Cortez, being very good surprise. Montgomery, that was a guy that I really didn't think would be very special this year. I think he already has a 2.7 or so ERA on the season. But what they've done so far is pretty special, considering we all thought Toronto was going to be, the clear team in this division. Tampa and the Yankees would fight for a 3rd or 2nd place spot, but right now the Yankees are showing that they can easily take the AL by storm this season. So definitely a hot team to talk about, but I think the Mets right now slightly edge them just a bit, though.
That's good analysis. Yeah, you mentioned Nestor Cortez. Just today, like a few hours ago, he had a no-hit bid going to the 8th, gave up a hit, and they took him out for Clay Holmes, and then Chapman got the save. So the Yankees have it figured out right now. They're definitely doing really well. And the Mets, like you said, they're one of the most complete teams. The difference for me, and it's baseball, so it doesn't always matter, but the Yankees have a lot more superstar kind of feel to them. Judge and Stanton both feel like they could take over a series, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cole could honestly take over like a wild card game or just any big game, really. Even though, of course, that didn't happen last year, but I still believe that was a lot to do with injury. Yeah. But we'll leave last year back in last year. But my thought is that both teams are built very differently, but very well. I think that the Yankees bullpen has been very good, and their starting rotation has also had tons of upside. And their offense has been overall really solid too. Hicks is back, and he's getting on base like crazy. I think he has like a 400 on base so far. So that's great. And then Rizzo, of course, was like, I think he was both of our first basemen of the first month of first baseman of April.
That's right. Yeah.
With that in mind, like a lot of things are going well for them so far. LeMahieu was much better than he was last year. Last year, we all thought he was kind of underperforming, not living up to that big contract, but I think that things are definitely going in a better direction for him. And then one thing I want to note, Travis, I think it's really surprising to say this, but I think that the Yankees did the right thing to not go get one of those shortstops, because if they went and got Story or Correa, like those guys are going to be, I think, long-term better than Kiner Falefa. But Kiner Falefa so far has been just as good or better of a hitter than them, just by being an average hitter kind of. And then he's played good defense so far too. But it's really crazy how the Correa, Story, Seager has been, it's kind of hard to evaluate Seager just being a Texas Ranger, who they're just kind of bottom of their division, been really struggling as a team. But those guys like Story and Correa, I really just see as, these teams that really wanted him, like us included, we really wanted them to be a shortstop for the Angels. Really not panning out to start their career with a new team like I thought. What are your thoughts on those two guys? And Did the Yankees dodge a bullet with a big contract for a guy like that, or do you think that those guys are going to be back pretty soon?
Yeah, I think right now that's a great point because I was thinking today, Angels middle infield, Velasquez, Tyler Wade, you can mix in there a couple, Mayfield and Fletcher. Right now, I think you can definitely say those guys are way more valuable than Semien and Seager, and you spent almost $500 million on both those guys. It's the first month or the first couple months of the contract, so of course I'm not going to be 100% judging it just yet, but what a start, I think, for some of these other low-key middle infielders and some of the big names. I think that you get your contract and you kind of can take your foot off the gas pedal and say, I can cruise in for the rest of my career and just have a nice contract. Seager, so much winning early on in his career. I think he'll definitely probably sacrifice that in the latter half of his career with the Rangers because, we don't really anticipate the Rangers, having a really winning season, in the next couple of years or, the next half decade or so. So he's one of those guys. And then Correa, of course, I think he's on the IL right now with the Twins, but the Twins are doing pretty well. So we'll see how he can really contribute to them. If he gets them or they get to the playoffs, Correa, I think, will be an excellent addition to their, to their roster because what he does in the postseason is, some of the best from shortstop's work of all time. So,
sure.
But I will say right now, I think the Yankees are really happy with what they got, especially for the value of Kiner Falefa. He's going to play good defense. He's going to be very, very cheap. And, you're not going to be spending $30 million a season on this guy to be, hopefully this guy can hit, 35 bombs and hit 300 and, have a 400 on base. With Kiner Falefa, you can kind of just let him go out there and play. And, if he can just be locked down defense, I think that's a big win right there. So I think that a lot of teams right now are looking at the free agency market and saying, we really dodged a bullet maybe our way. But I think right now as Angel fans, we can say the same thing. Right now, what we're seeing with middle infielder, with Velasquez, with Tyler Wade, with David Fletcher, I think we're happy with the way it went out, even though we were so upset with going into spring training with not a big name on our roster. I really like what we've done so far right now. So hopefully, of course, it can stay at least somewhat consistent throughout the season. You don't want to see a huge drop off on a lot of these guys. And then we're looking at August as, our middle infielders are just, trash right now. But going back to the Yankees, I think they're happy with what they did right now.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the metaphor almost is like the Yankees didn't get one of those monster contracts, but they're doing really well. And the Red Sox did, and Story's been very bad for them. He's like, I think he got booed in Fenway the other day. And he did have one good game against. He had one good game against the Angels when we played them, where I'm sure he was getting tons of cheers. But yeah, he's someone who's had a rough start to with their new team, the new franchise. But just something to keep an eye on. And it's not even just the shortstops; it's the pitchers too. Like Stroman, bit of a rough start. Ray has been like a solid, serviceable guy, but not the Cy Young, of course. But then some others have been really good, like Rodon and Gosman have been well worth their contracts, and they are going to contribute.
Kershaw, Syndergaard.
They're going to contribute to winning teams still. So so there's kind of both ends of the spectrum for the pitching market. So very interesting to kind of keep updated on those kind of guys and kind of just track and see how they're continuing to pan out.
Presented by Tool Tools Podcast.